Hello and welcome, everyone. We just went through a short little greetings with one another, but now I'm going to start by talking about some ways that you might develop your candidacy for both the study research and the ETA award. I'm going to start by talking about some actual general ways that you might develop your candidacy as they relate to just the Fulbright in general, focusing on that kind of cultural exchange piece. But then I'm going to move on and talk about some specific ways with the study research award where you might develop your candidacy, and then I'll talk about the ETA after that. So after that period of time, I'll then just open things up to a little Q&A session, and so just feel free to ask any questions that you want at that point. And yeah, we have a small enough group where I think that'll be pretty easy here. So let me find where I'm at. Great. So as you all know, the kind of main, the beating heart of the Fulbright, as a poetic way of putting it, that I hope it's poetic. I think it's poetic. But the beating heart of Fulbright really is the cultural exchange pursuit of the award. So that sharing of your slice of US American culture with your host country, but then also being receptive to the host country culture as well. And so some ways that you can think through now about how you have pursued and might pursue that kind of cultural exchange. And this will help generate some ideas for your essays, or it might help generate some ways that you can develop your candidacy moving forward. So thinking through your host country and talking about or kind of brainstorming, what are some things you know about that country, and what are some things that you're really excited about? Or you might be pursuing an award in a country that you actually don't know very well, and that's perfectly fine. But you'll want to get to know it better before you submit your application. So this will kind of help compel you to figure out some of those kind of cultural aspects of the place that you are wanting to go to. So reading literature from the country that you're going to, whether it's poetry, fiction, drama, whatever. Listening to music, whether this is like some kind of older classical music or contemporary music, whatever, it doesn't matter. I know that, let's see, I think it was Gloria that mentioned she's really interested in this Brazilian dance. So dance, the sorts of visual art and all kinds of different arts that that country has produced. So paying attention to those, being aware of those, being interested in those, knowing, trying to eat now, or trying to think through what dishes you might be interested in, the kind of food that you're interested in the host country, getting to know the geography some, thinking through museums that might be of interest to you in that place. Sports is another way. These are the sort of some of the categories with which you'll want to be thinking through about your country and how you might pursue, how you might just be able to talk about a few things in your essays, whether you say, oh, I've been to this place and seen this, or I can't wait to go to this museum, or I know we've one of our Fulbright winners this last year to Liverpool talked about some specific geographical locations. So I talked about the river that goes through Liverpool. I can't remember the name of that river, unfortunately, but he likes running. So he talked about, just a brief mention, but he just said, I can't wait to go running along whatever the name of the river is. I think at least in some iteration of his essay, he also talked about Liverpool, the football team. And so these are just a couple examples of some different things that you can mention, kind of, you don't have much space in your essay, so it'll be pretty brief. So you can do this by at the country level. So with something about Brazil or Indonesia that you're really excited about. But then you can kind of focus that in on specific regions. In the UK, the Lake District, I really want to go travel to the mountains of the Lake District, or by city. I want to go to, no one said Mexico, but Mexico City, or Sharon said Austria. So Vienna, I can't wait to go to Vienna and do this specific thing, go to the Sigmund Freud Museum, which I've been to, and it's great. So those are some other ways that you can kind of focus those cultural exchange interests. Then you can also talk about, you also want to think about the ways that you've pursued cultural exchange, and this can be sort of broadly defined. So it could be, but it also could be specifically defined. Here's what I mean by that. It could be sort of cultural exchange that you pursued here in the United States, in the city you live in, or in a city, by region, sort of by country, by the US, or it could be international. So, you know, if you've Gloria was talking about going to different Spanish-speaking countries that she's been to, but she wants to go to Brazil. Well, she could say, "Oh, I've been to Peru and I did this thing and it was really great. I love this kind of cultural exchange. I want to do that same thing in Brazil." So being able to demonstrate they're sort of corresponding, even though it's not the thing that she wants to pursue in Brazil, it is a way of saying, "I've done this before." So it could be at that international level, but Fulbright loves sending people that haven't traveled internationally very much, along with people who have. And so if you haven't traveled internationally, you can talk about cultural exchange that you've had here at Baylor or in Waco, or maybe you're from Dallas or in Texas. One thing that's kind of nice about either some of, I don't know if all of you are from Texas, but at least some of you probably are. But you're going to school in Texas, so you can talk about Texan culture. And that's something that's, you know, pretty distinct within the US, and also something that people internationally are pretty interested in. So the first round of decision-making for the Fulbright is with the National Screening Committee, the NSC. And so that's on the US side of things. But the second round is with the host country commission. And so that's going to be people within the host country making the decision. So at that level, you know, the sort of Texan sort of thing would be perhaps more interesting. But so those are just some general ways about general ways to think through cultural exchange and how to pursue those aims. Let me talk about some opportunities for the Study Research Award. And I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, I'll share it in a second. So essentially doing the kind of study that you're wanting to go and do that kind of work now. You know, hopefully you've been doing that kind of work throughout your undergrad, and then those that are in a master's program and in your master's program. So continuing to do that kind of work, and reaching out to people in your department and trying to say, "Hey, is there? I'm really interested in the research that you're doing here. Can I be your research assistant, or can we collaborate on a project, or even just sitting down and talking about them a bit more about the field that you're wanting to research." Hopefully you're already doing some of this kind of work, but maybe this is just a kind of a further nudge to say, this is one way to develop your candidacy, where at the very least having that kind of conversation can be a helpful thing. And if they're in a mercenary way, if they're writing your recommendation, that's a further way to develop a relationship with a mentor. But it could lead to some sort of, I don't know, publication, or some sort of research position or something like this. Speaking of publications, so sending your papers out for publication. So for our grad students here, you know, in graduate school, you're often sort of more well-versed about the different journals that are out there. If not, talking to faculty members that know what those journals are, or you know, this may be a kind of a basic thing here, but I'm gonna I don't have this pulled up, so bear with me here. I'm just going to pull up the library website. And so this, again, this is kind of basic here, but I'm going to share my screen. So just going to places like, so you can use OneSearch if you want, but you can go to JSTOR, for instance. Did that correct it to Jester? It did. That's weird. Where are we here? JSTOR, please don't correct that. Thank you. So going to JSTOR and, well, okay, I'm not gonna go through Duo. So going through and finding journals that are that are important in your field. I know in the humanities, there's an MLA database that lists just tons of different journals. So you know, it's I would suggest just typing in MLA in that database, and you'll be able to find it there. I don't know what it is for other fields, unfortunately, but sending your work out there, publishing your research. For our undergrads here, I'm gonna share my screen again and share with you a couple opportunities for, sorry, I have two screens and I'm trying to look around them. A couple opportunities to pursue your own publication. Let's see, I'm actually gonna start right here. So actually, sorry, I'm not gonna start there. Well, I'll show you how I got here in a second. How about that? But on the URSA page, there are, they share some different types of undergraduate journals where you might publish at Baylor: the Phoenix Literary Magazine, the Pulse, it's an undergrad scholarly magazine journal. Burst and Scientia are STEM-focused ways that you might publish your work. And I'm not aware of this one. Cool. CUR, the Council on Undergraduate Research, is an undergraduate journal that you can look at beyond Baylor. But if you're wanting to sort of develop your study research candidacy, publishing something is going to be can be a helpful thing. Some other kind of research. This is again for undergrads. For our grad students, there are. I would again sort of encourage you to look at either some of the resources on the graduate school page or through your department. And often, I haven't pulled any of those up because often those are. You kind of have your pulse on that a little bit more than it typically happens with graduate students. Sorry, with undergraduate students. But with so I'm on our Office of Engaged Learning page, and I just clicked on undergraduate research here. So there are a number of so within. Well, some of you may know this, some of you may not. My Dr. Hogue and I both work within the Office of Engaged Learning. Dr. Hogue leads the office, and I'm the director of major fellowships and awards. But undergraduate research is also a sphere within which our office works. So this is just a sort of our main page that offers a number of different ways to pursue undergraduate research here at Baylor. So the main thing I'm gonna look at URSA, but I'm also, which you can find right here. But I'm also going to look at another page as well. And let me remember, okay, so the available opportunities I'm just finding right here. It's this tab here. So these are just sort of cross discipline, some ways that you can pursue some kind of research with folks. And so these are listings of faculty that have mentored students with their undergraduate research and their research interests. So English is my focus. And so, you know, it lists Dr. Pittman, who's absolutely wonderful, talks about her, some of her interests. And so, you know, you can just kind of scroll through here and see some of these faculty members that are listed. Let's see, let's go with psychology and neuroscience. I don't know if anyone is in that field or not, but you can see her different sort of research interests. So connecting with these professors, seeing are they wanting to you know, work with undergraduate students and mentor them as they pursue research with them. So often what happens, you can see a start date here is in the fall. Often what happens is you would apply for this for the fall. I'm sure the sort of timeline varies from professor to professor. So I would just, you know, reach out. Another way, you could just reach out to professors you know. They don't have to be listed on this page, and so they may know of some further opportunities too. URSA is another sort of wait, this is not the page I wanted. Here we go. Let's click on URSA. URSA is another way to figure out some ways that you might pursue some undergraduate research. So the URSA small grants are one option. I don't actually know the timeline for the URSA small grants, so I can figure out the timeline for these. But Dr. Tammy Adair is a good contact for this, and I can let me know. I can put you all in touch. But you know, even if it's something that with some of these opportunities that I'm talking about, they might be things that would be for next year. But if you're doing it next year, you know, and starting it in the fall, that's something you can talk about. Or even if you're starting it in the spring next year, you could say, I've already been hired to do this research position, but it's going to really strengthen this, and this. You know, you haven't started it by the our Baylor deadline, but you can still talk about it in your essay. So yeah, that's let's see what there. See, was there something I was going to show on this page? Not really, actually. That's just a few other options. Let's see. I told you I was going to tell you where this is. I don't remember where it is. It's on URSA Home resources. Okay, let's go to URSA. I don't know where resources is. I don't remember where I found this. Well, oh yeah, resources. Here we go. And then opportunities for publication. So just so you know where that page is. And then you could do you know, honors programs and things like this. Honor Society, Sigma Tau Delta is an English honor society. There are a number of these that are unique to different disciplines. Okay, let's now move to ETA stuff. So there are a lot of teaching opportunities that are available. And I'm actually going to start, not this one. Where is RefuNet? Oh, it looks like I don't have it up. Nope, it's right here. So RefuNet is a really cool, so sorry, let me take a step back. A thing that you can do between now and when you submit your application for the ETA is get further teaching experience. That's central to what you're doing. Maybe if you already have a bunch of opportunities or experiences, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you're looking for further experiences, you'll you know, here are a number of ways that you can demonstrate that your sort of teaching interests. And So with teaching interest, ESL is always the best sort of experience to talk about because you're going to go teach English as a second language, but you do not have to, it doesn't have to be an ESL experience. It could be a tutoring experience of some other sort, or a kind of mentoring or something like that. Teaching broadly defined certainly does work, but RefuNet is one organization I know students have taught for before, and it's been really great. And so it's based in the UK, and refugees that have been relocated to the UK connect with teachers here, and you teach ESL online, and it's been a really great resource for a lot of our students. Let's see, what do we have next? Pursuing a TESOL or TEFL program online, that can also be a really helpful thing, because it for the same reason, you know, it teaches you how to be an ESL instructor, which is great. There are a billion different programs online. I don't have an example for you. I'm happy to like, and I don't know of, I don't have an example of one that students have done before, but you know, if you want to figure out if the TESOL or TEFL program is reputable, I'm happy to kind of navigate those waters with you. But that is something that can strengthen your candidacy. And for some awards, like in Kazakhstan and Tajikistan, that in that region, they often say, they specify a TEFL or TESOL is something that it's kind of a preferred, one of the preferred types of candidates. And so that kind of thing is specifically mentioned. So that's another thing that could help. You could also get a job teaching ESL online. So I have zero experience with any of these. This is just this just lists 8 different programs. I've actually heard of someone doing this, VIP Kid. I know nothing about it, and I know that they were going to do it, and I don't know how it was, or if they've done it yet. So that's kind of an odd thing to recommend these. I don't know, I'm not recommending, I just wanted to give you some examples here, and you can go out and kind of research them and figure out if they are worthwhile. I imagine they are, but I just don't have any experience with them. But here you are, here you go. Here's some other different kinds of possibilities. So on our website again, and this is just, if you click this fellowships and awards, and then, or you could just click maximizing your education and then teach serve. There are some specific opportunities here. Admittedly, a lot of these might not fit for this time frame between now and the applying for the Fulbright. This might be something of interest down the road, but I still wanted to show it to you. So we have some opportunities here. There are a bunch teaching in the US, and there are also a bunch teaching internationally. So this could be something that maybe there's some opportunities that you could apply for the summer. Some of them might be, you know, down the road for your teaching interests, or you might be interested in doing it and applying simultaneously with the Fulbright. Okay, there are also a bunch of ways to to work at Baylor. So let's see. This is the Writing Center. Unfortunately, they just went through their hiring cycle, so I don't know if they're going to be hiring anybody right now. But at least I know they're hiring for the fall. I would still think it's worthwhile to reach out and, if you're interested in this, to ask about the summer, but also ask about next fall. But I don't think the fall would be open to opportunities. So there's this. There's also the tutoring in the Paul Foster Success Center. This is not the Paul Foster. I think this is actually the Paul Foster Success Center link. It is great. So they're often looking for tutors. So it looks like they're hire on an ongoing basis. So I would reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to tutor all these classes or anything. Are you hiring right now? Do you need availability? So asking about the summer and asking about next fall. I know I've actually tutored when I was a graduate student. I tutored in the athletic department. I couldn't find any information on their website, and I actually sent an email to someone about it. I haven't heard back from them yet. So I'll follow up with some information about tutoring at the in the athletic department. Okay, one last thing. Let's see. So this, I'm trying to remember if you can actually find this on our website or not. I can't remember if you can, but by the way, I have documents with links to all these things that I'm showing you. So I will share those, and I'll talk about that in a second. But before we get there, there are a couple two opportunities that might be of interest. This is this would be for next year, and presumably I don't know what things have been like during COVID for either of these things, but these are two different opportunities for tutoring within the community here in Waco. And I'm guessing that next fall things would be, I'm hoping that things will be back to normal enough where you could do this sort of thing. But some ESL tutoring, and also this looks like this is just sort of lots of different subjects. So yeah, I think this is on our website somewhere. Let's see. Nope, not on here. Oops, sorry, there it was there. No, okay. It's in this document that I'm going to post to y'all. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So I'm going to add your names, those of you that filled out the Google form. I'm going to add everyone that said I'm definitely going to apply for the award for this specific award, and fill out the rest of that information. And I'm going to start adding folks to our Canvas page. And our Canvas page just has a ton of different resources for all different aspects of the application. But one of the things is that we'll have on there are these different types of opportunities to develop your candidacy, teaching opportunities, research, study, those sorts of things. So if you weren't able to click the, if I was talking too fast and you couldn't find the link, then I am recording this, and those documents will be on Canvas. Okay, I've just shared lots and lots of information here. And we've dwindled a little bit, which is perfectly fine, but we've also added a person. Mina, welcome. I'm just going to open things up now for a time of question and answer. Please feel free to just unmute yourself and ask whatever question you have.
I'm sorry if you said this already, but for RefuNet, do you know if that's like teaching a classroom, or is it one-on-one tutoring, or do you know what that kind of looks like?
Yeah, that's a great question. My understanding is that it's one-on-one. That's the students that I've talked to. They've just met one-on-one. So I suppose it's possible that they do larger group things, but yeah, it's just one-on-one as far as I know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. Other questions?
Hi, so I was wondering if the informational sessions in the past have been recorded, and like if there's a way to access those, because I missed the information session, like I think the first one.
Yes, yeah, they are recorded. And I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you where they are. Okay, so hey, we're already on the Office of Engaged Learning page. So if you just go to our page, and I've sent links to this in previous emails, so you can find that there. But also if you just go to this, I think this is the page, Major Fellowships and Awards. Okay, great, thank you. Here we go, and then we have our Fulbright grant page. And so I'm actually gonna clean this up a little bit. There's maybe a little bit too much text here right now. And now that we're kind of moving on along the process of for the timeline, we don't need all this information. But you can find the Google form right here under this March 31st. I'm going to change this, but you'll be able to see the Google form there. So fill that out if you know that you want to apply for the Fulbright and you haven't already, because that's going to allow us to just to know how that you're going to apply, so we know how to help you throughout the process. You'll also be included in our future communications. But then down here with these upcoming information sessions and workshops, I've just listed the recordings for each of these. So for this overview, let's see, we had the general overview and then our Baylor breakout session. We had the Graduate Student Study Research Award, the ETA for everyone, and then the undergrad study research. And I will put the recording here for this session as well. So that's where you'll find those.
Great, thank you.
You are welcome. I'm gonna stop sharing. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. So I filled out the Google form, but like I told you the last time we talked, I'm still undecided, trying to narrow down exactly what I'm going to do. And in the form, I just said, I haven't decided on the award yet. Do I need to fill out another one once I do make that decision?
No, no, you don't need to do that. That's just
that's not going to like change any like the Canvas page stuff or anything.
No. Just by virtue of filling out that form, anyone that's on that form, we're going to add to the Canvas page. Okay. So that just helps us communicate with you, because we were communicating with a much larger group of students who aren't either eligible to apply next year yet. They're sophomores or whatever, or or people just decided they're interested, but they decided not to. So we don't want to just keep emailing everyone. So we want to email only those that are going to apply. But also it's helpful for us to know which award you want to apply for in which country. But yeah, if you're still deciding, then you'll decide eventually and let us know, and that's sufficient.
Yeah, I can't remember if I asked you this the other week, but what do you think would be like a good personal timeline for me to set to kind of nail that decision down?
Yeah, I mean, I would, as soon as you can. Is that specific enough? So we're gonna hold two workshops on the 20th and 21st of April. One's gonna be, so they're both gonna talk about the process moving forward. We've already talked a little bit about the timeline, but we're gonna get into some more specifics about what that process is gonna look like. And so one's for the Study Research Award and one's for the ETA. It would be ideal if you knew by then, but it would not be the end of the world if you didn't. You could attend one, and the process is not exactly the same, but it's generally the same. So attending one would be great. And then we're really gonna sort of ramp up some of our workshops for the essays in May, and so I would say by early May at the latest. That's probably when you want to know if you have the space to be able to decide before then, with these April sessions that we have. That'd be ideal. But that's kind of I think a time frame that would be a helpful time frame, because you're still going to be thinking about the awards right now, which is what we want students, applicants to be doing. And even starting the essays would be great too, and other parts of the application. But we're gonna get down to that nitty gritty a little bit, in early May.
Okay, awesome. Well, Dr. Manisky, I'm excited to check out those resources. I had never heard of RefuNet before. I think that's going to be a very good opportunity. I'm going to go and head out, but thank you so much.
Yeah, great to see you, Cody, and I'm glad it was helpful. See you later. any other questions? Whether it doesn't have to be about developing your candidacy, it could be about any part of the Fulbright.
Yeah, I have just kind of a question. I know you've talked about a lot about the essays and how they're actually like very specific. And so I was wondering, I know you mentioned there's going to be workshops in May. So at what point should I kind of have like an idea of like a general outline? Because I think in my case, I tend to, like, if I have a 5-page essay, I'll write 10 pages and then have to cut it down. So it will definitely be a process of like narrowing things down and becoming very specific. And so I was just wondering, like, at what point should I have, like, I don't know, my like 3 or 2 or 1 main kind of idea that I'm going with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm the same way. I write long and I have to cut down. The last chapter of my dissertation was I turned it in for review, and my chair, it was 100 pages. My chair was like, "This is great. Cut 40 pages out." I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. So essentially, the kind of broad strokes, what I would say is, I think it's great to start sketching things out even right now. I know we haven't started to give that more specific guidance for what the essays look like yet. And so it might be, or we've given some, and I know you've looked at the website and things like this. And so it might feel like you have some idea, but you're kind of in the dark a little bit. But even just the fact of getting something on the page, I think that can be helpful right now. So, whenever you have the time to do that, I would say that's great. As far as, so just to say a little bit more about the upcoming meetings, the process meeting that we're going to have on the 20th and 21st. So they are going to talk a little bit more specifically about the essays and what the expectations are of the essays and just kind of discussing, this is what we've found, that there's no formula, because Fulbright loves idiosyncratic applications, because they want to send a diverse representation of the US, diverse in sort of all ways. And so you want it to be uniquely related to you, right? But we have found there's some things that you really do want to emphasize. So we'll talk about those in some ways in those process meetings, along with other things. But then, so we're going to have every month, starting in May, June, July, etc. We're going to have a workshop. And so, you'll want to, by that first workshop, you're going to want to have, whether it's an outline or maybe a sketch of the 2 essays or something like that. By then, I think having something a little bit more formalized, once you have a better understanding of what's expected with these essays, and you've just had some time to think about what you want to include. So that seems like a helpful time frame. We have a very, so in addition to those workshops, we have sort of a team of folks that are going to be working with everyone and giving both Dr. Hogue and I, but we also have some other writing consultants that are going to work with you very closely, and we kind of have a structure of how many drafts we want students to do, but you're always welcome to do as many drafts as you want to do. So you're going to be working very closely with folks like that. So that'll kind of kick in more in the summer. Doing those kind of individual drafts. That's more than you asked for, but I thought it was helpful to give.
No, that's really helpful. Yeah, I know that they're very short essays, and there are a lot of things that I'm excited about, and also that I want to talk about. And I know that it's going to be a process of kind of finding the right and most important things to say. So that's helpful, because it's actually a little bit sooner than I would have thought, which is good, because I'll be working on that a little bit more sooner. So.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things here that I think it's pretty easy to see for the ETA, for instance. It's 2 essays, 1 page single space. it's easy to think, oh man, that's easy. I can write a page very, very quickly. But you're right. You have to, there's so much you need to put in these essays. And so it takes a while to get to that point. As you know, in both your master's programs, I know you know this, but it just takes a while to, and essay writing is an iterative process. And so, it takes, you can't just put the words on the page once, you have to do it over and over. And we do find that sort of expanding that from over a longer period of time, it allows you to think more about it and to add more nuance, but you're not rushed either. And so and we're all busy, we're doing lots of different things, right? So you guys are, fulfilling other things in your grad programs and working and social life and things like this. So it just, doing it over a longer period of time allows for I just think a better rhythm to that process. Any other questions before we go? Or you guys are good to go? Great. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for attending here, and just really excited about both your candidacies and everyone else that was here too. And just looking forward to working with y'all and helping support you on your Fulbright applications.
Thank you.
All
right.
See you soon. Bye.
See ya.